Hello, welcome, and sorry. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to another Maple Bitcoin Friday live stream. I'm Jor. I'm joined by my two good buddies here, Forrest, Rajat, in that order. And we're looking at a chart right here that is the Canadian dollar versus Bitcoin. And although we haven't hit all-time highs in the US dollar yet, we have hit it today, I believe that is, right, Rajat?
I think so. We're close. Wait, Forrest was saying it in Canadian dollars. I think we hit it, right?
Yeah, we wicked up. So the previous all-time high was 170,650, and we wicked up to $172,798.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're wicking. And yeah, we haven't hit it in US dollars, and surprisingly, other basket of currencies too. We were checking out before the stream here the Japanese yen. We were checking out the real. Yeah, you gotta zoom out, maybe do the month chart there.
1 month.
Yeah, maybe
6 months.
6 months. Yeah, there we go. So really close on these charts, but blasted past on the Canadian chart, which is crazy because like people think of, when they think of like decent currencies, they probably think of like the US dollar, the euro, the Swiss franc. I think Swiss franc, right? Canadian dollar is up there, right? And it's getting destroyed by these other currencies. If you're hitting all-time highs in a, because that's what's interesting here, right? Is we're comparing this asset that's Bitcoin, which is much more fixed than all these other ones, and we're denominating it in these currencies that are actually degrading at different rates. And within this specific time period between previous all-time highs and now, the Canadian dollar has degraded faster than these other currencies that are notoriously bad.
Crazy.
Yeah, it'll keep going. That's the thing. It'll keep going. It's not going to stop. The Canadian government can, or any government, not even just the Canadian government. I don't want to make this political, like, oh, left versus right or anything like that. Everybody plans to print money because they can get themselves richer, and that'll keep happening.
It's orange versus everything.
The money printer is alive and well, and it's like I recorded a video about this, about like the everything bubble that we're in, and it's like these assets are going up. There's a reflexive flywheel. There's the assets are going up because nobody can hold dollars, and because nobody can hold dollars, they buy assets. And when there's more dollars, they flow into assets more than anything else. So it's like this. It's like, right, it's like the idea of incentives, right? It's you show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. The incentive is not to hold these dollars, it's to short the dollar and actually go into debt and buy assets with that outpace that inflation. And this is it's just a reflexive flywheel, and it's like you could buy any asset essentially. And that's why the idea, like the meme of diversification is there, is because like if you diversify enough, you're just buying general assets at that point, and you're not holding dollars. And of course, personally, I think like picking your assets is such a better idea, especially when you have something like sound money that you can easily pick. And it's like the debasement trade that's happening right now. Like that's actually, I think it was said on Bloomberg the other day, or CNBC or something, where people are buying gold and Bitcoin, and that is it referred to as the debasement trade. It's like they're buying assets specifically because of monetary debasement, which I think is like kind of like a paradigm shift almost. Like it's a total mindset shift. Like past few years, people started referring to dollars as fiat. That became sort of like a casual colloquialism.
Yeah, because it wasn't before that ever.
No, it really wasn't. And now I think this concept of the debasement trade is going to become a reality for financial experts around the world, and they're going to think they're going to have to understand what that means.
Yep.
And then you look into exactly what is designed to not be debased, and you recognize that Bitcoin is the scarcest asset out there.
Maybe this is a great spot to show your video, Jor.
Oh yeah, it's not a video, but the
Or
title
sorry,
of
the
today's
tweet.
show is even haters have realized that they need Bitcoin. So here's a good example of one of the haters. We were just talking about CNBC. This is a fellow from Fox News named Mark Tepper from Fox Business. And he was quoted saying on October 1st, my portfolio now has a 2% allocation to Bitcoin, just in case my dumb friends from high school are right. And when I saw this, I just feel like this is kind of the sentiment among people, not only in mainstream media, but in like the finance world, whether it's a financial advisor, whether it's an academic, a college professor, a university professor. They all kind of see Bitcoin, and then they see maybe a guy on a YouTube video wearing a hat and a hoodie, and they think it's the dumb friend from high school. That's who's going all in on Bitcoin. But it's really couldn't be further from the truth. I think some of the most intelligent people on the planet are actually invested in Bitcoin, and made a video about that the other day. I think the smartest person with the highest IQ said that he had allocated all of his assets into Bitcoin recently. Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah, I did see a little bit of controversy around that too, though. But yeah,
What was the
What was the
controversy?
controversy?
that this guy has like the answers to the IQ test thing, and that he's actually just a grifter.
Oh.
He's
Could
like
be.
a crypto grifter. Maybe, I don't know. Actually, I think it was Corey Klepson or whatever his name is from Swan who mentioned that. It does seem kind of weird that this dude's just coming out of the blue.
I mean,
Yeah.
if he's
Seems a
buying
bit
Bitcoin,
sus.
then he's probably pretty smart.
Yeah,
He also starts all of his tweets with "as the highest IQ person."
I saw that.
exactly. Yeah. It's a little bit egotistical at the least. You know that tweet though that you shared from Darkside, and whatever his name, Mark Tepper is, that dude is suffering from the bell curve meme, right? That dude is somewhere in the middle of the IQ. You know, we're on the IQ, we're talking about IQ here. He's somewhere in the middle there, and he's assuming that everybody that buys Bitcoin is on the left side of the bell curve.
Yep.
Which of course there are, right? There are some people that are just they've understood a little grasp of this, even just the idea, oh, this is the best performing asset of all time. Okay, I'll just buy a bunch of it. You know, that doesn't take a lot of IQ to figure out, right?
Right.
And then there's the other people on the other side that have like studied this deeply and are like way further to the right of the bell curve. But yeah, that guy's stuck in the middle there. That's the world's highest IQ.
And he does that over and over again as the world's highest IQ holder.
It's
As the
kind of
world's highest
funny,
IQ
actually.
holder. This
Yeah,
is so funny. Look at this.
I like
My
it.
world's highest IQ score.
He has it in his name too.
That's
IQ
really funny.
276.
Dude,
That's really funny.
this seems like a joke.
Yeah.
Kind
to
of
be
does.
honest.
Where else did he say this? Oh, as the world's highest IQ holder. That's really funny.
Hilarious.
But I mean, it's not too far off. Like that's like I was being serious when I said some of the most intelligent people on the planet are maybe not 100% allocated to Bitcoin, but they hold the majority of their wealth in Bitcoin, not in real estate, not in gold, not in the stock market anymore. And so even the haters, I think, are starting to see that they need Bitcoin, not that they want it or that they want to make some money off it, but it's because everything else is slowly going to zero against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when we talk about everybody likes to talk about the price of Bitcoin. Some people say the fiat price of Bitcoin, but it is kind of what we wanted to demonstrate at the start of the show here was that it's different. It's not a price, it's an exchange rate between currencies. So right now in the US, it hasn't hit its all-time high, or I guess all-time low in terms of US dollars, in terms of how many sats you get for that $1 US. But in countries like Canada, in Japan, other countries, in Canada, we actually have hit an all-time high in terms of the exchange rate between Canadian dollars and Bitcoin. So it's an important, I think, distinction to make there. There is no real price of Bitcoin. It's just how many dollars from each of these fiat countries, how many sats you can get for each one of those dollars. And they fluctuate.
They fluctuate, and none of them are good measuring sticks. They all, like, you have to take some sort of average of them all, but then it's all just like you're measuring against something that's being debased and being lowered in value. So it just doesn't make sense. Which, I mean, I think it was another different live session we talked about, like pricing it in gold instead, and the bull market
Right.
hasn't even begun and all of this. And it's like, that makes more sense. Like, gold is as close to sound money as we've ever had until Bitcoin, and it has the longest track record of retaining its purchasing power compared to other goods and services because of its relative scarcity and difficulty to create more of. it makes sense to me. Like I really like that, actually, measuring assets in something like gold. I don't think it necessarily, like, it makes sense to get you all bullish and revved up on Bitcoin to measure things against Bitcoin, but it doesn't really make sense yet, in my opinion, because we're still in the adoption cycle. And it still is just going to like rapidly outpace anything else until we've reached sort of like a saturation point of adoption, I would say.
I like to think that the day-to-day price is it's a distraction. Can
Yeah,
you
I
share my
agree.
screen there, Jor? I just want to show something. I feel like this is really important. I feel like this is important to help you grasp this. So the way that I see it, this is the day-to-day price of Bitcoin, the colorful dots.
Mhm.
It goes up and it comes down. It keeps doing that, keeps doing that. If you're too zoomed in, you're going to get distracted, right? You're going to think, oh, Bitcoin's down. I shouldn't buy more. It's going to go lower. It's too high now. I can't afford it, all that stuff. So what I say is get rid of the distraction. Get rid of that price at the end of the day and think about the 4-year moving average price. So what
Yeah.
this is it shows you what the price of Bitcoin was in any 4-year period. So it averages that out for the last since 2014, since
Is there
Bitcoin
any
started being priced.
point on this moving average where you could be down?
I think there was a very short point in
Doesn't look
2000.
like it.
So there was
It
a
doesn't look.
5-year period, a very, very short 5-year period, when Bitcoin reached 15,700. Do you guys remember in 2022?
Yep.
It was
Okay,
a
yeah,
very,
yeah.
very short 5-year period where Bitcoin, because it was below the last low,
Okay, right.
so
Yes.
it was very short. It was probably like a week, 2 weeks maybe. But over the long term, you know that this thing is going to go up. I mean, it's volatile. We already expect that, right? If you buy Bitcoin, and the way that I see it, if you buy Bitcoin, you have to make sure that you are ready to feel stupid for the next 4 or more years. Right? It could be longer, it could be shorter. It'll very likely be shorter than 4 years, but be ready to feel stupid because you know that in the short term, like I said, the price can go up and down.
Wow.
But you have to take advantage of the dips, right? You take advantage of the dips. You make sure that you buy at the lows, and you don't just get bored. Because what most retail investors do is they just get bored, right? They get bored and they stop even thinking about what Bitcoin is, and then they blink and they come back, and now the price is 2 times higher, 3 times higher. They can't do anything about it. You can't go back. There's no way to go back in time and buy Bitcoin at whatever the price was before. So let's say, for example, here, 16K. You can, and something that's really interesting when you look at this chart, the movement seems to be very similar to 2017. So 2015 to 2017.
Hmm.
And when Bitcoin started going up, it was at about, I think it was at like $1,100, $1,200 or so, but it ended up at 19,000 at the top.
That's
Right, but
insane.
it was only there for a little while though.
20x.
Yeah, 20x. So what if that happens here, right? I mean, that could,
$2
because
million
there's more and
Bitcoin.
more,
And
more and
that's
more
what
institutions coming in,
that
right?
would be
So
a blow off top, right? Is what
that would be the
that
blow
would
off
be
top. But
considered.
then
Yeah.
I was thinking we have an 80% drop every time. That 80% drop basically washes out all of the liquidity. Or sorry, all of the volatility. It kills it kills everybody's dreams of Bitcoin going up forever. So imagine that happens. So I mean, I would not be surprised if this thing goes crazy and it just blows everybody's expectations, and then it drops 80%. Right? Let's say it does a 20x. I don't know. I'm not saying that
Do you
it
think
will.
there'd be that many sellers this time around though for it to crash like that?
Well, it's
Yeah,
I just don't see any
it's
scenario
about the
where
liquidity of the market, though. If the
I just
market
don't
is
see any.
really thin, then
Yeah,
it doesn't take that much sellers.
true.
Yeah, it
If
wouldn't take
there's
that
a
many
lack
sellers.
of if there's all of a sudden like a liquidity sponge that takes up the ability to buy the dip in some respect, and people are panicking and selling, or if there's like an economic crash and people are like needing to buy food, they're going to sell their whatever they can, right? Yeah, I mean, you got to think like there's so many variables that it is difficult to predict any of that. But basically, a really thin market, like even this downturn that we had before this recent rip, if you look at volume in Bitcoin, it's like all these downturns are correspond with like a lack of volume, trading volume as well. And that's when the price can move really, really easily and be manipulated from big holders because there's a lack of liquidity in the buying and selling, and price is always determined on the margin. So it would take a lot of different things coming together for a crash, but we have seen that happen before.
Yeah, maybe the treasury companies are going to absorb all of that, right? So maybe all of that speculation is going into the treasury companies, and then the sharks, the people who have those what is it called, pipe shares? Is that what it is?
Yeah, private investment in public equity.
Right. So if they have all those shares and they dump them on retail, maybe retail backs off again, right? Maybe what we're seeing now is that you see these parts where it goes down, it goes from 71 to like 50. Maybe that's the bear market, right? Maybe the bear markets have shortened.
Well, so there's this theory, right, that basically the crashes are happening in the treasury companies instead of in Bitcoin itself. And so these treasury companies are not spitting out any Bitcoin. Like there's been instead we've seen actually like a merger, right? Semler has been like underwater on, well, share price wise to their Bitcoin holdings for like a while, right? And instead of spitting out their Bitcoin and changing strategy and saying, hey, let's try to get up to the value of our holdings at least, they just merge with another Bitcoin treasury company and become stronger as two. But the share price, has crashed, and Metaplanet's crashed, and all these different things have crashed, right? And it happens there, but it doesn't reflect into the Bitcoin price because it's not actually, all it's doing when it crashes down is limits the ability of that single treasury company to potentially acquire more Bitcoin at that time. But it doesn't actually increase the supply of Bitcoin into the market and reflect that price action in the Bitcoin's price specifically.
It's a good point.
It's like adding padding between Bitcoin, Bitcoin's price action, because all the volatility is happening in the treasury companies.
Oh yeah, because the base layer doesn't have to move.
Exactly.
Yeah, because those coins aren't moving. Like the treasury companies aren't actually selling them yet.
And then the treasury companies could actually get, they can just get bought out.
Exactly.
Meaning that there's no transaction on the base layer.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple big players like Strategy and Michael Saylor have talked about that mergers and acquisitions are usually bad for the shareholders, and it's pretty apparent that he is not interested in being that person and creating the company that can efficiently merge in Bitcoin treasury companies. But there's entrants like Asset, which is backed by Strive and Vivek Ramaswamy, who has tons of capital behind them, with expertise of acquiring companies and basically selling them for parts or whatever they end up doing, revitalizing their medical business in the past and everything. So there's these companies moving into this space that have the expertise of being able to buy distressed companies and assets. And same with even NACA. Like NACA gets a lot of shit. Maybe deservingly so. Maybe we'll see. I mean, if you're a shareholder, you definitely can voice that, I would say, at this point. But their whole strategy is going to be investing in companies and taking them public, or they're already public and buying Bitcoin. So it's kind of similar. Like they're not maybe buying outright and merging and that way, but they're buying large positions in companies and buying Bitcoin with that. So it's very like there's these two entities that have seemingly a whole lot of capital behind them that are going to create that opportunity within that field of mergers, acquisitions, and supporting companies so that they don't have to spit out their Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important to understand because in the past, people keep saying, "Oh, we're going to have these 50-80% drops," and I don't know if we will anymore, because in the past, retail was determining the cycles, right? Everything was done by retail. Retail is extremely emotional. If institutions weren't here, I think we would be in a bear market right now. Right?
You think so? Yeah, could be.
There's so much Bitcoin being dumped. But then again, we might have seen that maybe there wouldn't be this much Bitcoin being dumped if institutions weren't here. Maybe the people who have held Bitcoin for so long are actually they were waiting for this, because a lot of them knew this was going to happen. Right? A lot of them knew that institutional investors are going to come in and they're going to buy as much Bitcoin as they can. So maybe they were just waiting for this exact moment.
Well, the price moving up can draw out those sellers, right? Those sellers
Yes.
might not have been there if Bitcoin's price hasn't reached the levels that it has.
Yeah.
And again, that same Saylor interview, it was the one by, I think, Bitcoin Magazine with the chessboard in front of it. Maybe you guys saw that. I don't know.
I saw that one. Yeah.
He mentioned that he thinks Bitcoin's price would be $5,000 right now if treasury companies didn't come into the space.
Saylor said that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't think I heard that part. Maybe I didn't get into it, but
I'm pretty sure he said that. I saw a clip from that. I listened to the whole
crazy.
thing. I don't remember that, but I did see a clip of him saying that, which I think is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think that's reality at all. There's
Yeah,
actually lots of stuff I don't agree
it was
with.
at like 60,000 before treasury companies, right? Actually, I guess MicroStrategy was there then.
Yeah, I mean it depends. I mean, yeah, it was in 2020, but then it fell down to like 16,000 in the bear market.
Do you think
yeah.
that bear market support was in the institutions?
No, I think the rally in 2024 was because of IBIT, a large part. But I think before that, Bitcoin was getting enough support and had bottomed out more naturally without institutions coming in.
I watched something where I think it was Oliver Velez. He was saying how BlackRock actually got its most I guess high value to start buying Bitcoin in 2022.
Sorry, what was that?
So do you guys know Oliver Velez?
Yep.
Nope.
So he was saying he's a trader. He's a really well-known trader. He was saying how in 2022, near the bottom, the BlackRock was having its high-value clients buy Bitcoin.
Interesting.
And that's what the support was.
I would believe that.
I would too, because I mean, I feel like that was when Bitcoin should have gone way lower. A lot of people were predicting 11K, and I feel like if that hadn't happened, because FTX had collapsed at that point, right? If FTX collapsed, I feel like Bitcoin should have gone lower. But I feel like at that point, it was like, okay, the retail investors are going to get more Bitcoin. Let's price them out.
I mean, it's possible. I wonder what his evidence of it would be. The other thing I would maybe, sorry,
there was something released by BlackRock about this.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, yeah, maybe it might be possible. I think the other thing too is like looking at the fair value of what it costs to mine Bitcoin at that time too. I think would be an interesting thing, because there's a lot of market dynamics that can create, you know, a real bottom in the cycle. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously it was outsized demand, right? More buyers than sellers. So somewhere there were buyers or there was lack of sellers, which caused that to happen. Maybe it was BlackRock. I don't know.
Here's a question from Ted Lee here. When North American markets close this afternoon, do you think the Bitcoin price will drop during the weekend?
I think that I think Michael Saylor, I think Strategy is doing an ATM right now. So maybe they're planning to buy Bitcoin. Actually, I wanted to talk. There was somebody who mentioned STRC. I think that today may be the last day that Strategy has to ATM its stock.
Ever?
Yeah. No, I mean, they're going to ATM it to pay those dividends as well. Yeah.
But I mean, they could pay the dividends by ATMing STRC, no?
Yes, they can. That is in the rights of them to be able to do so. But I think as long as they have a premium to their MSTR, they can ATM that too. And you know, the liquidity, right? Like if you look at their metrics on strategy.com, they just don't have like they have like 3.8 billion of trading volume in their common stock in the last month, in the last 30 days. In STRC, which is their highest volume preferred, they have 38 million. So they need liquidity to be able to ATM, right?
But I guess people are buying, but they're not selling STRC.
Yeah, I mean there's that amount of trading volume. That's both sides. Like the trading volume is representative of buyers and sellers. So that's money of this stock being exchanged.
Is STRC available on all exchanges? I know Robinhood just released it, right? They just made it available.
Just made it available. I don't think. I mean, it's not available on all of them, but I think Robinhood was a big one because This is
Yeah.
something like I think the preferreds on MSTR, as much as they are designed for institutions and really fit the portfolios of institutions, it's retail that actually understands them today. I think
Right.
it's like the team at MSTR needs to like go to every institution and every exchange and like sell these products. And I think that's probably what they did. Like they probably have somebody talking with Robinhood being
Oh,
like,
definitely.
we have demand for this. You need to list these, because Robinhood is not listing other preferred instruments. Like preferreds are not interesting to
Yeah, they're
the
boring.
retail market. Yeah, they're boring. They're liquid. They suck. Like they underperform like crazy. But with strategies preferreds, you can get the performance of like the S&P 500 at a way lesser amount of risk and potentially outperform that with some of them as well. But like STRC is basically like designed to be a risk-free, which there's nothing like that, but as risk-free as possible returns of paid in cash of the average returns of S&P 500 right now, right? Like that's basically what
That's
it is.
crazy. I was thinking about that too. That's insane. The
It's an
fact that you
insane
can
product.
buy this thing and guarantee returns and get cash flow, that it doesn't even make any sense that it hasn't reached 100 yet.
Yeah, it's crazy, but all the signs are showing that it's going to. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's 99.25. It's reached the range, or their range is 99 to 101, and the correlation has completely decoupled from the MSTR share price and Bitcoin, and the volatility's fallen like crazy. It was hugely volatile because it was just market traded until it reaches that par, and it's basically hit the par now, which, as you kind of alluded to there, like you suggested maybe this is the end of the MSTR common ATM. It's possible because they're now within the range of their guidance of being able to issue new STRC shares. They needed to be above $99, which they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they have more ambition to buy more Bitcoin right now than their preferreds will allow them to do. That's my argument against that, and for them issuing more MSTR common, because that is the current engine that's like running at full bore. That's like an 8-cylinder, just like absolutely redlining. These other ones, you know, they're in first gear, right? Like they're basically just getting started.
It's like the flywheel effect. Just it's going crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's starting up now, and there's no way to stop it at this point.
Exactly. And Robinhood is actually a huge deal. Getting on Robinhood is a huge deal. That will add liquidity. That'll add the retail market. Like if you like, there's all these products, like River has the product where you can just hold cash and get 4.3% or something like that. Robinhood has something very similar. If you're holding cash, they pay you for that. But
not in stats though.
Well, not in sats, but yeah, but it percentage wise, regardless of whether what it's paid in, percentage wise, it's going to be right 4, 5, 6% maybe. The dividend right now is 10.25%. So instead of just holding any of those, if you know you can redeem these and sell these at par at roughly around the same price, and you need to hold cash for some reason, why not STRC? And that's the option for retail right now. That's in Robinhood. I have a cash position. I'll just put it in STRC.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. So do you think that so if they have a cash position from their clients, maybe they can hold STRC and then they can offer their clients a little bit less, but above average or above market interest rate. So let's say, for example, market is 1%. They hold on to STRC. They offer their clients 3%, and it brings a ton of money into Robinhood, and they can buy more and more STRC.
There's definitely going to be like a short window there where that's going to be possible. But I kind of see it as like Saylor even said this the other day. He's like, the majority of people do not understand what stretch is. Most Bitcoiners don't even understand what stretch is. So if you think about most Bitcoiners and how small percentage of the population that is, and even if the majority of people don't even understand what that is, like, so I think that there will be a window of opportunity like you're talking about there, Rajat. That'd be brilliant. Like if you can get 10.25% from stretch and offer your clients even like 5 or 6% to be way ahead of everybody else. They don't really need to know what's going on in the background. that won't last forever, but I think there is definitely a short-term opportunity there for something like that.
There might be some legality around that too, like whether
Would there?
like they're if they're regulated to be able to hold like a preferred instead of something else. There
So you're
might
thinking they
be.
might have to hold like treasuries instead of?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
it could be that.
there could be, but so I don't know the ins and outs of all that, but I see this happening more as like on the individual level. I see this as being like individuals, instead of saying like, oh, I can just hold cash at 4%. I'm just going to hold STRC, because the individuals will understand that. It's possible that like the people at Robinhood, because there's probably, a small team, right? And if the people at MSTR are able to talk to them and say, hey, hold STRC instead, and there's no regulatory problem with that, they need to convince one or two key people, and then that's a reality. And that would be a huge demand for the product, right? So, I mean, maybe that's possible. I don't know the legality or the ins and outs of if that would be something. But, I mean, if so, that would be massive. Because think about how much cash is being held in Robinhood right now, like tons, right? Tons.
Coinbase too.
All of them.
I couldn't even imagine how much Coinbase has for cash. Although they probably, I feel like Coinbase is, they probably want to get their hands on as much Bitcoin as possible to, I don't know if it's 1-to-1, but I'm guessing that's something that they're well aware of. But anyways, it's a question here. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys have an exit strategy for this bull market? If you do sell, what are you going to do with the cash?
Okay, so I have a couple of things that I plan to do. So I have so I borrowed a little bit of money to buy Bitcoin in the past. I want to pay
Nice.
that back. I'm just going to keep letting it go until whenever I can pay it back. I'm in no rush to pay it back, but I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin. I'm going to sell the things that I'm trading. So let's say, for example, I'm trading some MSTR options. If those options go crazy and there's a blow off top, then I'll sell some of those options, pay off the debt, because after that blow off top, it's very likely that we're going to see a bear market. I mean, I don't know if it'll happen or not, but to me, it's more like I was, instead of dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, I was able to buy a lump sum in the past, and I'm dollar cost averaging back into that debt, and I'm paying it off over time. And I think, to me, it's worth it. I'm of the belief that Bitcoin is going to go absolutely nuts. It's going to beat any interest rate that you can get, even on a credit card. I mean, I still wouldn't recommend borrowing money on a credit card to buy Bitcoin, but I think Bitcoin will massively exceed 20%. So to me, if it does go insane, like let's say, for example, Bitcoin does go to like $2 million or $1 million or something, and those options are worth a lot more than whatever they're worth today, I'd want to buy more Bitcoin, if anything. Right? If there is a bear market and Bitcoin drops 80%, I'd want to buy more Bitcoin, or I'd want to maybe pay off my mortgage or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, my exit strategy, I go back and forth with this all the time. I kind of planned on, if let's say Bitcoin got to $200,000 in USD terms, I was going to sell like 2% of my stack, put it in USDT, because I live on my Bitcoin, right? So, but the other thing too is that I kind of thought of is like I get paid mostly in fiat. And so even if Bitcoin went from 200 down to 100 again, I'm still getting the same amount of fiat. That hasn't changed. I'm still going to be able to pay my bills. I'll just be able to buy more sats with anything that I have left over. So in that situation, like I don't really see a need to exit. Like I think that we're so far away from the top in terms of, something where I would sell some to buy something like a new boat or a new quad or a side-by-side, something like that. Like I'm going to wait till the price is much higher before I exit Bitcoin to buy something like that. We're so far away from that now. And I think that, where we are right now, I think it'd be stupid to cash out and buy something else right now. So I don't really plan on doing anything, honestly. I'm just going to keep holding, keep taking the fiat that I make, buying Bitcoin. And when the price is down, I'm going to be able to buy more sats for the exchange rate there. So I don't really have an exit strategy for this cycle right now.
Yeah, for me, I have a couple levered positions. I have some IBIT calls, some leaps. If Bitcoin went parabolic, those are going to be worth a lot of money, and I would exit out of the leverage and into spot potentially. I rent. I love renting, but it might make sense to buy a house. Like there's these two, like, again, you're determining these two markets. So like if Bitcoin rips up and the housing continues to go down, which it is, then it might make sense to rotate some of that into a home, not as an investment, but as like my own home.
A lifestyle choice.
Yeah, lifestyle choice. Exactly.
I like that.
Which I'm still, on the fence with, right? So it would have to be the right place. It would have to be the right timing, all of that. But yeah.
I think the important thing is that you understand that it's a lifestyle choice, right? You understand that, oh, this thing is going to decrease in value over time. And I'm sure, Jor, you also understand that with the boat that you were saying. What was it? Side by side,
yeah.
Right. I mean, we understand that, right? We understand that the price of things is going to decrease. But then I feel like it's important to also figure out the balance. Like we spoke about in the last couple of live sessions. We talked about the balance between spending today and saving for the future. I think that's the key. I think that's essentially what all three of us talked about there. We talked about how we're going to balance our future with the present, because we all know that if Bitcoin does have a blow off top this time, at some point, whatever that blow off top is, even if it's $1 million, at some point that $1 million is going to be a rounding error.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
And we all understand that. That's the main thing. That I think that's the main takeaway here. Still enjoy your life, but also live like that Bitcoin is going to go much, much higher from where it is today.
And this kind of goes back to that moving average line that you have. Like, if you're in spot, you can weather the dips, knowing that over time it's going up and to the right, and there's not really a time where you're down on your position. If you're measuring by that moving average, if you're getting rid of the volatility, the short-term volatility. And then, so the other parts of my position is like, I would sell covered calls, which is a way of shorting the short-term volatility and hedging up some of the downside of that. So I would continue making capital off of that, which would be fine. And then, just hold a lot of spot, which I wouldn't sell. Like timing, like I think of this scenario, right? If somebody's trying to time the market, even with a blow off top, you're selling Bitcoin, you're not timing it perfectly.
Yeah.
There's capital gains, and then you're waiting how long? And that entire time you're waiting, oh, should I get in? Is it right? Is it time? Like, it's so stressful to just potentially buy in lower and make that, the gain of the difference. But it's so stressful. And again, the moving average is up and to the right. So just for me, my spot Bitcoin is what I'm allowing to be my least stressful position of my portfolio. The little leverage in IBIT that I have, some MSTR I sell covered calls on, that I can have a little bit of attention focus to. Again, not in a super stressful way, but if I sold my core holdings thinking it's a blow off top and that it's going to go down, I'd be so stressed, waiting those months and months of when I think the bottom.
Could you imagine?
And then missing it, and then oh my god, just so much risk with that. Like, it's just so crazy to think that the average person could do that. Like, most people are going to screw that up, and I think that I probably would to some degree as well. And factoring in all the work, the capital gains, the stress, I just don't think it's worth doing.
Yeah, people are trying to take shortcuts. That's what it is.
Yeah,
and there are no shortcuts in Bitcoin. Brian says the Bitcoin is for your grandchildren, not toys. That's a nice picture. It looks like it's Trudeau getting punched in the face. But on this note, I'm guessing Brian's talking about me wanting to buy quads and boats and side by sides. I agree with you, Brian. I'm not talking about dropping 80% of my Bitcoin to go buy a side by side. That's just not who I am, and it never will be. I'm talking about figuring out what it is that I want, because I think we also need to realize that we're only here for a short time. And yes, it's good to leave a percentage to our grandchildren. That's what we're all wanting to do here. But if you think about if you're any my age, my grandchildren, they're going to be able to go down to the store to fill up their tank of gas with 20 sats. That's going to get them a tank of gas at that point. That's, when you're looking that far out ahead. So do they need what I have now? No, they probably only need 10% of what I have now. So I'm going to have no shame spending some Bitcoin to enjoy my life, whether it's a side-by-side or a vacation somewhere or whatever that may be. I have zero issues with that. That's what we're here for, right? Obviously you don't want to be stupid with it, but you definitely have to find a balance between delaying your gratification and actually capturing some of that gratification for the work that you've added and the value that you've added to the world to enjoy yourself, because we're not here for very long. So I know what you're saying. I do plan on keeping like 50, 60, 70%, passing that on forever. But I want to enjoy a little bit of my Bitcoin. Like, otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Why would you just want to stare at a screen all day? And like, what are people planning on doing? Living in like cardboard boxes while
Exactly.
they pass their Bitcoin on to their kids? No, you can't do that. You have to live your life as well. I think that's the point of October. That's the point of Bitcoin going crazy, right? That's the point of your purchasing power increasing. If you're, it's a built-in mechanism to get people to redistribute their holdings, right? If you're in
Yep.
this early, you probably own way more Bitcoin than people will own in 10 years, right? So
Mhm.
if you're not redistributing your Bitcoin, then how are more people going to be able to enjoy the delayed gratification that comes with owning Bitcoin? That money, that Bitcoin in and of itself doesn't do anything for you. It's just a
Exactly.
number on a screen.
Exactly. I would say buying Bitcoin in 2025 isn't so you can have as many units as you can. It's so that you can buy time and freedom in the future. That's really what it is. So maybe your kids and their kids might have to work half of what you did.
Mhm.
That's how I see it. Is nobody wants things like, yeah, they're cool. Like, even if I got a side by side, for example, like, be useful, it'd be handy. It'd probably improve my life a little bit, but I'm not going to be happier because of it. But if I had, more 2 hours more per day with Arnie or my kids in the future, then that's something I think that makes a difference. And that's kind of what I'm striving for, is just having to work a little bit less, like grinding now, so I can work a little bit less at some point in the future. Not when I'm 65 or 70, though. I'm talking like in the next 5 or 10 years. That's my goal anyways from now.
But I feel
Yeah.
like even if we do have that opportunity, the way that you are, like, I see you guys posting your videos every single day. I see you guys doing your work, doing what you need to. I feel like even then, if we have the opportunity, it's not like we're gonna stop working. We're
Exactly.
probably all gonna continue to work. Like, I plan to make videos on this channel for as long as I live. Right? If I can, why not?
Yeah, it's like you guys know who Linus Torvalds is?
No.
He's the creator of the Linux operating system. That you can look up at his GitHub, and it's like he has so many commits. It's like hundreds. It's just he's just
What's a commit?
coding. So he's changing code, like he's adding code and committing it to a project.
Oh,
Even
And
now.
then yeah, even now. So
Wow.
he's he created Linux a long time ago. He could just be chilling on all sorts of different stuff that he's done, but he's just absolutely a machine for coding. And it's like, clearly that's something he loves to do. He's obsessed with it. Like, and so the idea here is that, as George said, Bitcoin is freedom in the future, right? If you have Bitcoin now, you can decide how to use that in the future, and you have more purchasing power. And maybe that means more time off to relax and to not work. Or maybe it just means that you can work on things that you want to do, and that you're not forced to make only videos about how you can retire on this much Bitcoin and one subject that gets a bunch of views, and you're just only focused on trying to get views. Instead, you can spend some time on something, some research on a specific topic about it that you enjoy, and make content about it. You're not so, like, when you're in a situation where you don't have savings and money and ability to protect yourself with that wealth, you are forced into decisions that you
Yep.
might not want to do. And a lot of people are like that, right? When you wake up at 6 a.m. and you go to your job, it's not because you want to do it, probably. It's probably because you're forced to do it. And it's like this underlying pressure from all your expenses and everything. So if you alleviate that, you can decide more of what you want to do. And that's the power of Bitcoin, in my opinion.
That's a freedom.
Yeah.
What are you guys going to do in 5 or 10 years from now? Rajat said he's making videos till he dies. Rajat,
Well,
people are,
I'm like, not daily. I mean, I'm planning to make videos here and there, right? Like, whenever I can. If I have a new idea that I think about, I want to make a video about it. I find it
I
so
can't
fun. I
wait to
actually find
see.
it fun to make videos.
Imagine in 20 years from now, Rajat, you'll be making a video and you'll be able to look back to 2024 as like a reminder.
Every single
That'd be
video that I
pretty
make at that point is going to be a reaction of my own videos.
cool. Yeah. Reacting to myself here 20 years ago. Like, for me, I feel like if Bitcoin got to a point where I no longer needed to work anymore, obviously I'd still want to do this. Like, this is what I love doing. I wouldn't be doing it right now if I didn't love doing it. But I think my plan here is, with the property we have, I want to start harvesting some of these trees. So that's kind of my retirement plan. I don't have a plan to like sit on the beach or sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day or something like that. Like I want to be out there, cutting wood, chopping wood, packaging it, selling it, preserving it, and selling it to Bitcoiners. That's kind of my end goal here with this whole thing. So that's like my version of retirement, is something like that. It's not sitting around relaxing and doing nothing. It's just less screen time, less LED lights, and being outside more and hanging out with Arnie a little bit more. So everybody, what do you guys have planned for 5 or 10 years from now when you're going to be able to retire?
I think funding other creatives is something that I really want to do.
That's cool.
I've done this a little bit, right? Like there's these projects, there's these people that are so creative, and they can bring ideas into the world that that I can't individually do. It takes, you know, other people to do, their expertise and such. And I think that's how I want to spend my time, is helping others create things in the world. You know, travel. I love traveling. I would travel a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, I would definitely continue to make videos about Bitcoin, as it's completely 100% my passion. And I would probably also focus on, you know, some of these, like, I think what I'm talking about funding projects, it would probably be around film, documentary film stuff, which is part of my past.
Telling stories.
Yeah, and something that I've had to move away from because it's not profitable. Like it's really hard to make money
Right.
from that stuff.
Right.
I did it for 8 years, and like I have passive income and royalties from it, but man, it was like struggling to make a decent living from it. It's very difficult. So to take away that financial aspect of it and actually be able to make the projects I want to make without thinking, oh, is this going to make money? That would be a huge freedom. So
Yeah.
I think part of my future goes back to what I did before this, actually, which is making films.
Josh says that he's gonna train to be a Pokemon master.
Whew, that's good. I like that too.
What are you going to do, Rajat?
I feel like I'd want to travel. I feel like I'd want to go to live in different countries, maybe.
Yeah.
Like live somewhere
A
in Asia.
nomad.
I feel like I've gone to Asia and I really like it. I like Japan. I like Thailand. I went to India. I want to go to other places in Asia. I'd want to try going to different places in Europe, even though it seems like it's getting crazier and crazier there. Yeah, I feel like I'd want to travel. I feel like I'd want to experience different types of lifestyles. And I like what you said there, Forrest. Funding creatives, funding people, helping them to build something of their own, so that they don't have. Because a lot of people are very creative and they're stuck working a job because they have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and they're forced to. They have no other choice, because that's just how the system is designed. Right. I would love to go to South America. I went to Argentina last year, late last year. It was great. I loved it. I think that's experiencing other people's lifestyles is so much fun.
Yeah,
It gives
it's a
you
lot
more
of fun.
perspective. Like a lot of people, I see a lot of people talking just complete shit about India, but they haven't been there, right? Like they haven't been to South India, for example. They haven't been to Kerala, right? If you go to Kerala, it seems like a completely different country. It's not even. It's a completely different lifestyle, and people wouldn't even understand it.
Yeah, you have to go
You just
there.
went there for the first time last summer, right? Or when was that? Last winter?
This year. So it was February to March this
February.
year. It was amazing. It was. It's like I said, it's better. I would say it's even better than being in North America, right? But I haven't been there for a very long time. I was only there for like a week, but and I was living in I was staying in like a luxury hotel because it wasn't that expensive. But I think going to these places is so important because it teaches you, oh, this is how the rest of the world works. When you drive through like rural India, you see people working on farms for like 16 hours a day, earning just a few dollars in the entire day, right? And we're able to make these videos to make money. To me, that's crazy, right? It just makes me appreciate what I have a lot more. And I feel like I want more of that. I want more of that. And I want to help other people in other countries to do what they can to maybe change their lives, right? Like, let's say, for example, if you could if you could help somebody to you could give them a camera or a
Mhm.
cell phone, and they can make their own videos. That's exactly like what you said there, Forrest. Why wouldn't you, right? Over time, the cost of an iPhone is decreasing in terms of Bitcoin, and you can literally buy thousands of iPhones and distribute them to people so that they can change their lives. They have access to the internet now.
Yeah. It's like you want to be like Johnny Appleseed, but with sats, right? You're just traveling around dropping sats where they
Yeah.
need to be, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go, right? Like, just like I do think that like what we're doing here right now is very meaningful as well. Like, we are
Yeah.
creating content, inspiring other people to understand sound money and Bitcoin and to free themselves, right? And it takes time to free yourself. It's not a magic bullet. You don't just buy Bitcoin and immediately you get to quit your job, right? It's going to take some time. It's going to take building, but I think like this is legitimately how I feel. Is like I think the content we make actually really helps people, but I think that we, with more capital, more freedom, more ability of each one of us, there's other ways that we could do that too, which I think
Yeah.
would be really impactful. And I think it would, travel around and just fund projects and drop sats on it and, make a meaningful difference in that local community. I mean, even just going like what you're saying, like going to India, right? Like if you go to India and you convince somebody to accept the sats, that could change their whole life. Like that amount of that you bought something from them, they now have a few thousand of sats or whatever, and Bitcoin continues to rip up. Like that could make a huge meaningful difference and probably change their perspective on Bitcoin and make them start to acquire it as well. Like that could be
Yeah.
huge.
100%. And if you could just, even if we could just go around like teaching people personal finance, I feel like doing like keynotes and speaking would be really cool. I feel like doing that would be a really great use of time. You could teach people about anything, right? You could teach people about Bitcoin. You could teach them about personal finance. You could teach them just how to improve their lives in general. Like we all know certain things that maybe other people don't understand, and we can teach. We can teach all of that.
Yep.
You guys consider yourself teachers? We're kind of like teachers with less of a salary and we don't get summers off. It's kind of weird. I think about that all the time. It's like teachers are paid pretty well. They're respected for the most part among society. They get summers off. And we get really none of that. I mean, we get sats, which is nice. And shout out to everybody who has sent in a few sats to that QR code today. But the other thing too is like they have children who are basically forced to go and listen to what they say and don't retain any of the information. We're sitting here, people voluntarily show up for it. They want to do it. And we get a fraction of what real teachers make. It's kind of twisted to me, but
we're doing it
think,
voluntarily. We're doing it willingly. I like that.
Well, we are doing it. And also people who want it, like nobody's being paid to be here right now. Nobody's being forced to do this to like complete a course. They're just voluntary. Like, they want to learn. Yeah. And I feel like most teachers teach things that nobody really even cares about. And the kids don't want to be there. Whereas this is kind of the flip side of that. And we get a fraction of what, but maybe that's just like the transition that we're in from that world to this one. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Teachers don't get paid that. Like I don't know. My mom was a teacher. She didn't get paid that much.
Yeah.
You said that we don't get summers off. We get to choose whenever we want to go off though.
Yeah.
Right. They can't even take vacation days during the year. Right.
True.
And we have choices. Like last week I didn't show up to one of these calls and I didn't get fired. Right.
I thought about it. We had a meeting after the show to discuss it quickly.
You guys let me stay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Your job's not in jeopardy. No. We I don't know. I consider us teachers, educators, but we're doing it voluntarily and we're not holding a classroom and forcing kids to show up and stuff. Like it's but I would consider us teachers for sure.
Yeah, I like to tell people when people ask me, "Oh, what do you do for work?" I just tell them I make YouTube videos, and they get so surprised. Like, what do you make YouTube videos about? And I try not to go into it because I feel like they'd probably think I'm like some kind of crackhead for talking about Bitcoin all the time. But it's I think it really shows you that I don't know if people have really discovered education online yet because they just think that you're making some kind of you're making some kind of entertainment videos, some bullshit video that you have that, oh, people are just enjoying like shorts, for example, because most people just scroll through shorts all day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no substance there. And I feel like most people when YouTube first came out, that's essentially what it was used for. It was like just strictly entertainment. There was hardly any educational stuff on there, like cat videos. I think of like Jackass, like that kind of stuff, like people doing dumb things to try to get views. But it's definitely evolved. Like even I think that we're actually moving into the next iteration of this, which is the something like school, whether it ends up being school or not, something like that where people can actually show up, contribute them, you know, whatever they want to, add to the conversation. They can share pictures, they can share videos, they can do whatever they want. But the reason I like school is because there's no BS on there. There's no spam or there's no bots and there's no, you know, it's more, I feel like personal, more interactive. And even with school, I think that it's the future. Like if you look at the S curve of school right now with Alex Hormozy behind it and what they're building and how fast they're shipping things there, like that has a long ways to go. And the nice thing about that is like there's no ads on there. There's nobody selling you things. There's no algorithm. It's like you signed up to be there voluntarily. You can kind of get what you put into it. If you don't want to show up, you don't have to. And I feel like there's going to be so many school communities created where that's kind of like the new YouTube and people can kind of just go in between different communities that they're a part of because people want to learn. And especially people centered around Bitcoin, they're attracted to people who want to learn and who want to grow and who are on the same kind of frequency as other people. And you want to find as many people like that. And before the internet, you couldn't. Like imagine being a Bitcoiner, I guess not possible, but imagine having an interest before the internet and you were kind of like stuck in your town. If you like Pokemon or something like that, you had really no one to talk to about that stuff. But now you could have the strangest interest, Bitcoin being one of them, and you can find and meet people from all around the world because of things like YouTube and school and of course the internet. So we're people like to complain about things right now, but you know, we have it pretty good, I think, overall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there was a really great comment there from Views 404. You don't have to teach things that you don't want to teach. You're allowed to post whatever you want to, where we can talk about whatever we want, right? We didn't even plan what we wanted to talk about today.
Oh,
we literally met 2 minutes before we were supposed to, and we just started having a conversation. That's so sick.
Don't
right?
tell people that.
But they should know, right? They should know that this is like our genuine thoughts. This is actually what we're thinking.
I think, yeah, that's the world's starving for more real, I think, right now. The world's starving for more real. There's so much stuff out there. There's so much fake stuff out there. It's like people just want to listen to people talk and hear that, you know, be able to contribute to the conversation instead of watching these AI edited videos for like flashy here, flashy there. It's a different experience, I feel like, something like this. And it's obvious there's 500 people in here right now, plus an Oster. And there's going to be more people in the school thing after too. So you don't have to trust us. We're kind of living through it right now. Oh, sorry. You guys are telling me to do something here. What is happening there?
I was getting spammed.
Put him in timeout. Did some funny comments, actually. Anyways, I'm way behind in comments here, boys.
All good.
Okay.
Did you guys see
really great conversation?
Anything you guys want to talk about in the comments?
We do have a super chat we should probably get to. And we've been talking about the school a lot. And another reason that we're talking about that is we do like a happy hour, an hour live extra after this at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. So in 25 minutes, we'll do an hour on our school community. That's actually like it's basically like a Zoom call that you can go onto and ask us with your audio, with your mic, hop on the video as well, ask us questions. It's basically like we all do individual consulting calls, but it's like a crowd-funded consulting call between the three of us. And we can, you know, like we've been talking about, we can talk about whatever we want. There are some limitations because we're of the platform we're using on YouTube. There are some things that it's a little bit tough to talk about around privacy, Bitcoin, this kind of stuff. And we talk about that in the school. So you guys can join the school. There's a 7-day free trial, link in the chat, in all of our chats, and 7-day free trial. Check it out. Hop on the live, see if you like it. That we have masterclasses, exclusive content, all sorts of value. And there's that saying, you know, your net worth is your network. And there's 150 plus other Bitcoiners on there. that are all talking about really important and interesting things. And I think that's a huge asset that people are undervaluing.
Totally. And you kind of mentioned there, I think I mentioned this in the last video that we did. I don't know if we shared that yet. Did we, Forrest?
No, I mean, I uploaded it, but we didn't share it yet. No.
Okay. Anyways, I kind of made a point at the end of it, which was all three of us do one-on-one consulting for kind of different things within Bitcoin. And the rates are, I would say, a minimum of about $200 US per hour to talk with us. And this community is, I think, $27 a month, where you can talk to all three of us in the same kind of a setting. It's a little bit,
And that's 4 times in a month.
4
for
times
$27
in 1
bucks.
month.
That's crazy.
So it's kind of like a secret little cheat code there if you wanted to do that. But the other thing too is that we'll probably increase the price. I was listening to a school conversation the other day, and they said the average price on school is $50 a month, and ours is 27 right now. And I'd say that we're spitting out quite a bit of value in there, in terms of growing your conviction, in terms of increasing your security, in terms of considering your retirement options, all these different things, plus just having other Bitcoiners to talk to.
Yeah.
Now, you guys would not believe, you guys probably would believe, but people in the chat might not, how many people I've spoken to one-on-one of other people, other Bitcoiners, where I was the first person they had a conversation with about Bitcoin.
Wow.
And you can feel how grateful they are. Like I've had that happen
100%.
too. They're just like, this is so awesome talking to another person about Bitcoin for once in my life.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think I really like thinking about is, if you don't have the right guidance, you're probably not going to go all in on Bitcoin.
And you'll make some mistakes too beyond that. I mean, that is a mistake, but there's other mistakes you can make that are pretty costly with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I would say.
And you're gonna stick to, let's say, for example, 10%, 15% of your portfolio. But if you we've had people in the group, we've had people who have been part of our even these live sessions. You don't even have to go to the group. I recommend it. I think it's valuable. But just people listening to other people talking about this thing, it plants a seed in your brain that makes you think that you should have more. And the more you have, the better off you'll be. The better off you are in the future, the more people you can help, the more changes you can make in other people's lives. Like, let's say, for example, if you wanted to do something like what Forrest said there, where you want to support creatives, you can support more creatives, right? Like, let's say, for example, you can go from 0.1 Bitcoin to 5 Bitcoin, right? Because you can only get to 0.1 Bitcoin. That's all you think that you need. But if you get to 5 Bitcoin at some point in the future, you're going to have so much wealth that you're not going to know what to do with it. You can improve your community. You can help the people around you. You can make an actual change, and you can be completely fulfilled. I think that's one thing that our generation wants. We want to be fulfilled. We don't want to be working a job that we hate, where you're just basically a cog in this massive machine where you make no difference, right? And I felt like that in my old job. I think that Bitcoin allows more and more people to get out of that and to have some meaning in their career, and to have some meaning in the things that they do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's so important to have other people in your life, even if it is just online for now. Like, we have full intention within the Maple Bitcoin School to our plan is to do kind of a Canadian tour, maybe dip in the US a little bit, but we want to bring this to real life. It's not going to start and end online. Like, this is just kind of the very first stages of it. Speaking personally, like, I have a community myself on my own channel, and I actually, from meeting people in there, we actually launched our own business called Bitcoin Citadel. And none of those relationships would have happened without living in the future, without that community there. So if you're somebody out there who's like working a 9-to-5, you're looking for something else to do, looking for other people to collaborate with, like, something like this community is ideal for that, really, because you're going to find people who you might have these skills, and you want somebody with these skills, but you want them to also be a Bitcoiner so you can speak the same language. And these are the only kind of places, whether it's ours or another community, that's the only place where you're going to find something like that. And it is so important, I think, to have people in your life that weaknesses that you have, they complement that. And again, to make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page. You don't have to, you can just cut through the BS. Everybody's Bitcoiners in there. So I think it's a not only just like a place to learn more, but it's a huge opportunity, I think, for your network and collaborating and building with other people.
Have you guys heard of that? There's like this idea of shallow connections, the value of shallow connections, where you just you kind of know people a little bit, And that leads to like outsized opportunities as opposed to very specific deep connections with a few people. It's kind of that like 6 degrees of separation idea where you're really close. Like if you know 100 people, you're those within those 100 people, you're connected to everyone in the world, right? Everybody knows one other person, they know 100 people, and so on. But this idea of shallow connections actually leads to like, you know, getting recommended for jobs and like, all sorts of like crazy things if you just happen to know the right person. Like all of those little
Right.
connections make a big difference in
Yes.
opportunities.
That's so true. So my first job so I was working in retail when I was in university. I was working at Rogers, and I met this person for the very first time, and it was probably the shallowest of all shallow connections. Exactly like what you said there. This is a person I met for the very first time. She came in as a customer and she wanted to get something done, and I told her, "Hey, you can do this to decrease your cost." So I changed up her account, and she happened to be working at CIBC. She was like a regional manager or something. The first time I met her, I made this connection with her, and it was as shallow as it can be because I have no idea where she lived, who she was. I have none of that. She gave me her business card, and that was the first job that I got in the banking industry.
Wow. That's just an amazing example of it. And it happens on like more subtle layer, like subtle things as well. But yeah, it's just like you never know what connection can lead to another connection too. Like it just, like I'm not interested. Like you talk to somebody at a party about Bitcoin, they're like, oh, I'm not interested about Bitcoin, but I know somebody else who is, and they connect you. And then it turns out that this is somebody that works in some industry that you want to get involved in, or, like they know somebody, and all of a sudden you're at conferences and you know a handful of people and all sorts of crazy stuff. Like it's wild how
Like even
how it
us,
works.
we basically started with kind of a shallow connection where we just had one conversation.
Yeah.
And then we made this thing out of it, right? I had one conversation with Jor, or maybe two conversations with Jor, and then one conversation with Forrest, and then we turned it into this thing where now we're meeting up every single week,
Yeah.
Twice a week.
right?
Twice a week, building
sometimes 3
crazy
times a week.
content, the best content on YouTube, in my opinion. And I'm not biased at all,
100%.
but it's crazy what we're building here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think about it. Like, I mean, you guys both mentioned travel. I'm in the same boat, but like, I don't know about you guys, but my goal within the Maple community is to have thousands of people in there. I want to have
Yeah.
a Bitcoiner, at least one Bitcoiner in every country on the planet. And then imagine that if you wanted to take a trip to some random ass country, instead of just showing up there blind, do you know somebody from the school community that you can kind of get in touch with beforehand? Even if you don't spend the whole week with them or whatever, just to have somebody there, to maybe pick you up from the airport, to maybe give you some local recommendations. Like, you can't buy that kind of stuff, and you can't find that stuff online just like by searching something. It's something that comes through time, through effort, and through relationship like that. So yeah, we encourage everybody to join. Obviously you don't have to, but we'd love to have you in there. Especially if you're from a random ass country that we want to check off the off the list. But yeah, we got about 15 minutes here, boys. Is there any other topics you want to discuss? I want to give a quick shout out here to Letha, who's zapped 5,000 sats over on Noster.
Wow.
6.5 sats. Mark zapped 1650, and then Moravian zapped 1,000 sats just now, and a couple more ones. I can't see who they are, but there are some zaps on there. And then somebody also sent in 5555. Says, as the highest IQ person in the world, here's some sats. And then 333 zaps. So thank you, everybody. You can do that. The QR code beside Forrest said there if you would like to support us, or at the address below there.
And
I want to talk
also
about one last thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just, one quick interjection here. Nav in the chat asked why they can't super chat on Maple Bitcoin channel. There's a clerical error, demonetization. We're going to get it fixed. So you have to either send in sats, do the Bitcoin version of a super chat, or go to the Rajat channel or George's channel. Mine doesn't work either. So you can do a super chat on either of their channels, and then come back to Maple Bitcoin and watch it on there, because we want people on Maple Bitcoin, and we're going to get that fixed as soon as possible, but it might be a week or two at the most.
Yeah.
You literally are volunteering right now, Forrest.
Oh yeah. It's worth it.
Oh, I wanted to share my screen here. I wanted to I wanted to actually end off with something extremely bullish. So I want to talk about
Nice.
October. What you see here is the monthly returns for Bitcoin. October, there was only two times where October was negative.
What years was that? Oh,
This was
18?
2018 and 2014.
Wow. That's
And
a green streak there from 2019 onward, eh?
yeah, look at that average. Look at the average for November and October.
Good months, quarters.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter of the year is typically very, very good for Bitcoin.
And you can look at the quarterly returns. So quarterly, Bitcoin's average quarterly is 79.43%.
Yeah, you do not want to be on the sidelines right now.
Yeah.
And especially with the way the market has shifted. I mean, institutions have just changed the way that the way Bitcoin is working. I would say I'm sort of leaning towards thinking that the 4-year cycles are a lot of coincidence. Maybe something happens that triggers it again. I don't know, but I would just not want to be on the sidelines right now, personally.
Yeah, even if you expect Bitcoin to go down, even if you expect a massive bear market, it really doesn't make any sense to be on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rajat, covered you with a V there.
That's okay. All good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be impossible to be anything but like crazy bullish right now. Like
Yeah.
we're there right now. Like I honestly thought that throughout the summer we'd kind of go down a little bit more than we did. We haven't dropped below 100 for a long time, which is a huge psychological barrier. And I think somebody said here, where was that now? Captain Romo said Bitcoin almost breaks all-time high resistance. Do you think it will be able to do that this month? Well, kind of what we started the show talking about today is that Bitcoin actually broke all-time high here in Canada. So it really depends on what country you're watching this from, whether or not you hit an all-time high. Because we did today or yesterday. No, it must have been today.
Today?
Today.
Hit all-time high? Yeah, today.
So the point of talking about that was that there's no real like one price of Bitcoin. There's no real one all-time high. It depends on what country you're holding your currency in and what country you're comparing it to.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of good comments in here today. I wish I could have got through them all.
Yeah.
We do have a super chat now. Well, we got 2 super chats actually, maybe. Yeah. Our business is screwed with inflation. They can't raise prices as fast as inflation goes up. And if they do, people won't be able to afford those prices.
Could I take this one?
Of course.
Yeah.
So this one I actually felt yesterday. So I was in the city and I usually stop somewhere on the way out just because it's like the closest restaurant to me is like, let's say 100 miles. So I was just like reward myself for, just a treat once in a while. So I went to Ito yesterday. Ito I like. It's like I get a beef bowl from there. Mm-hmm. And I noticed like my bill was I got a new beef bowl, couple, what are those things called? Rolls, spring rolls, and then a drink. $24.
One person
I think
at a fast food Japanese restaurant. That's crazy.
But that wasn't where it ended. When I got my meal, I noticed that it didn't have peas in it anymore. It didn't have peas. It used to have carrots in there. Now it was just shreds of carrots. It had mushrooms in there randomly. I don't know why. But like all the ingredients that they used to have in there, it was like half of what it was. Wow. So I think about this all the time, like what Nav's saying here. Like that was kind of my theory that eventually businesses would no longer be able to raise their prices because people just wouldn't be able to afford it at some point. But they're still raising their prices and they're actually significantly reducing their quality of the food. Like if you look at pizza now too, the pizzas, even though they've gone up a little bit, they have half the toppings that it did a couple of years ago. So it's like, it's this thing where the prices are still, I think, going to still go up, but not to the same magnitude, which would like, stop people from going there, but they're just going to slowly keep reducing their quality and the amount of ingredients that they put into these items.
Dude, they're just going to be able to serve us slop. That's the only thing we're going to be able to afford at a certain point. It's just, we're just going to degrade so much. Yeah,
for 20 pizza crust and some tomato sauce, maybe.
Yeah. Philip said soon they'll use sawdust.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They probably already are.
How much sawdust can you put in there before we start to notice, right? That's basically what it is. And it's a product of the fiat system. And there's a boiling point. I mean, we literally, like, we cannot get to the point where they're putting sawdust in the bread. Like, it does, like when that happens, the system collapses. Like that's sort of like maybe like a joke, you know, the sawdust and the bread, but that's a reality in history. Like
Yep.
there is actually historical examples of that, right? Like trying to add plant cellulose basically into food so that your stomach feels full even though it's not any nutrients. It's terrible, and there's historical causes from inflation in environments like, you know, Germany in the past and things like that, right? Like when that happens, the system collapses and it gets rebuilt, and people believe in a new currency, and the whole system plays out again, and it takes however long until it collapses again. And basically, now we have a way out, this other monetary network that is Bitcoin. We can adopt it, and we can actually, everything continues to go down. So even though the quality of the food goes down, the price of it in dollars goes up, you can still afford, if you're on a Bitcoin standard, to buy higher quality food, the same quality that you were buying before or better. And you can afford it, and it's actually cheaper priced in sats, right? So it's the denominator that really matters. And more and more people will figure this out, and things will get worse until people do figure it out.
Bitcoin as it actually, I think businesses are actually better off with a Bitcoin standard because the prices go down, and they willingly get to offer lower prices, or if they want to keep the same price, they're going to offer better and better meals. Like let's say, for example, Jor, your meal there, instead of increasing the price, they can keep the price the same, and they can give you better and better quality food, right? Instead of
Yep.
giving you like ground beef, maybe they'll give you a steak, right? And think about how happy people would be thinking,
100%.
oh,
Yep.
I paid the same amount of money, but now I'm getting like a 10 times better product. They'd
And
want to
we're-
keep going back.
And word would spread too, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna pay $20 somewhere, this restaurant here, you're getting like a legitimate meal. This restaurant over here, you're getting sawdust and some pizza sauce. Eventually, everybody's going to move over to the one with quality, and that's going to just increase their revenue, help them keep putting more money into Bitcoin, keep improving their businesses. Like it's just a cycle. We're kind of just in the in-between phase right now of the fiat cult and the bright Bitcoin future here.
And it's already the case, if businesses are on the Bitcoin standard, that they charge less over time, because they're what we should be denominating everything is in sats. And right now, as Bitcoin hits an all-time high, right? I have an exchange rate on my website. You know, it's $100 US for 30 minutes, and it's what is it? 81,000 sats for that instead, right? And that has gone down in price since yesterday because Bitcoin's price has gone up.
Yep.
It's exactly happening. Yeah. Bitcoin standard. Everyone needs it.
Joshua, do you guys not use that Wallet Satoshi address anymore? We do, actually. We just have the Koinos one and that one. So we just have the Koinos QR code up there right now. I wanted to end with this one, boys. This is a good question. Where was it now? Somebody asked, my Bitcoin allocation, Data Nation said, my Bitcoin allocation is around 30% right now, and it's kind of difficult to allocate more. How did you get higher conviction?
Join the school. Have conversations with us. I guarantee you, if you join the school and you have a 30% allocation today, by the end of this meeting today, you'll want to go to 50%. Then you'll want to go to 60%. Then you'll want to go to 70%. That's one thing that I noticed, right? Some people are just too cheap to get rich.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend money, right?
Yeah.
I used to be like that. I'm not even telling other people that they're bad. I used to be like that. I was a victim of that cheap mentality where I would try to save as much money as I could, and I'd avoid spending money on things like education, and I'd try to do it myself. But then I'd see that, oh, I just wasted a year, 2 years, 5 years trying to learn about this thing. Instead, I could have paid this guy $300, $500, whatever, $100, $1,000, whatever it was, and I could have had it dealt with, right? So the best thing that you can do is educate yourself, learn more about Bitcoin. But the next best thing that you can do, and I'm promoting our own school here, is join a community, join a group of people where there's other people asking questions. There's a ton of content, and there are people in that group who are going to be thinking of things before you even imagine them, right? You're not even gonna, there are questions in the community that people are asking that I haven't even thought of. and it makes me more bullish.
You become way more rounded.
Yep.
And when there is a legitimate concern or a threat or whatever, like we've seen a couple of those recently. And if you're part of a community like that, like you got 150 or 200 or 250 people who literally have your back.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find that, just hanging around on Twitter. Nobody gives a shit about you on Twitter or Reddit or anywhere. Nobody cares about you. But here, everybody has each other's best interests in mind. Everybody's moving together. Everybody wants to grow together. And I think that when you have 150 or 1,000 in a year from now, people who have your back, like the sense of security there is off the charts. And if you got a question, you don't have to hire somebody for $200 or $500 an hour. You can just put it in there, see what kind of feedback people give. And the nice thing about that is like there's other trusted members in there where if somebody says something stupid or they give a wrong answer, there's going to be 50 people who jump in there. It's like verifications, like the Bitcoin network kind of thing, where if somebody says something that's incorrect, there's going to be somebody who says, no, that's wrong. Or two people say that. And it's like, okay, well, you don't have to, you're not trusting people, you're verifying, and being part of a community like that is your reputation, is the trust, and is the verification aspect of that. So it's pretty powerful. The first community that I joined,
are you that bullish? 1,000 in a year?
Members in there?
Yeah.
Oh, it should be. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet. This is the most exciting topic that exists right now. People are storing more wealth than they'll ever know what to do with. So at some point, like the dam's going to break. I think there should be 10,000 people in that community today.
Yeah, there should be. One other thing I would say, obviously, the school is going to just raise your commitment like crazy and conviction. The other thing I would just do is find some charts that price the 70% of your assets. Individually, you could select them, price them in Bitcoin, and look at there's facts, right? Historical facts of what they were worth at one point priced in Bitcoin and what they're worth now. Yep. And without a doubt, they are worth less and less Bitcoin over time. And that's just going to be the case. All of these other assets are going to fall, like companies specifically, are going to fall to the Bitcoin holdings they have on their balance sheet and their ability to acquire Bitcoin into the future. That will be what they are valued at. And they will just continue to fall to that level. And a lot of them, the vast majority of them, have no Bitcoin. And the amount of Bitcoin they'll be able to acquire in the future is getting less and less because they're just getting cash, and their business is not growing faster than Bitcoin is as priced in US dollars. So they're able to acquire less and less Bitcoin over time. And the sooner they adopt a Bitcoin standard, the more likely they'll be able to outpace Bitcoin into the future. But almost none of them are. So I would just do that. Price your assets in Bitcoin, and you'll see it'll just be so clearly obvious to you in a logical sense that you need to move over to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Can't afford not to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's our time's up here.
Yep.
For the week. If you are somebody who like Joy here, or you have some questions, I see a lot of questions in here that people are looking for answers to. And I think the best place you can be right now is the happy hour within school. So this was the first episode in a while that I did not have a Guinness or a Chelada. I'm trying to practice discipline here, boys, and I had to cut the grass right before the show. I got a workout after the stream, and so I'm trying very hard to be disciplined here. So anyways, it was still a great stream today, great conversation. Consider everybody out there, if you haven't yet, join our school community, and we're going to be there in exactly 30 seconds from now.
Yeah,
and we would absolutely love to have you there. I'm going to share that one more time. So consider, like we mentioned, 7-day free trial. If you don't like it, you can leave. We won't be offended, but hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks, Forrest. Thanks, Rajat. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody.